more.
Episode
I don't think
211.
211.
Woo!
All right, cool. Oh,
All right,
where are
I
you
got
going,
a good one to start with.
Where are you going, Hershey?
She likes my energy and my beard.
Oh, please.
All right.
Actually, that's probably true because I'm feeling very needy because he's so adorable and cute and I want to pet him and he's probably like, get away from me, you toxic
And
lady.
I'm ignoring him and he wants all my love.
Learn from this. Learn from this. Okay.
Okay, this is from D. Francis. I placed him tethered away from me, but he keeps chewing on the leash. So I think she's talking about she's back tied. So she's put him on a dog bed, back tied him to something, and he's chewing on the leash while he's back tied.
Or sometimes I can't have a dog bed because I chew on that too. It's fine.
That's possible. I like pet cots. If they chew on the dog beds, pet cots are pretty good.
Yeah.
Canine Ballistics has like a $200 one that's really, really, really secured.
I'd hope it is for $200 friggin'
I think it's on sale. It's like $119 right now.
Oh,
But
it's on $119, guys. Yeah, go
reasonable
get it.
price. Check it out.
Reasonable for where?
That's $80 off. I don't know. I don't know what your idea of reasonable is. So.
All right.
So in order for a dog to learn how to settle in place, when I hear chewing on the leash, I'm like, okay, the go-to is spray it with some bitter apple, they'll stop. But I just have a feeling it might be more frustration-based and not able to settle yet. So when I teach place command, I teach routines first. I teach place, which is going on and being released quickly. I teach place pattern, which is going on, being recalled off, and going back to it. And you do it like 5-6 times for a treat, and then you release them after. So we actually tire dogs out with place before expecting them to settle. One of my go-to ways of figuring out if a dog is calm enough to settle on place is I do my routines, and after I start seeing them slow down with the come, slow down with the going back to place and laying down, I start pausing a little bit longer. I start kind of walking up. He's chewing my mic. I kind of walk them up to place. I tell them place. I get them into a sit. Instead of luring into that down like I've been doing for the last 5, I just kind of pause for a second. And he kind of looks around and just melts into it down. I'm like, oh, good, food. And then I do my next routine, and I'll do that a few more times. When I get it down most times, and their dog is a little less prone or a little less likely to come off place because they're getting tired, that's when I attempt to do my place duration. Sorry, mumble those words. And that's what you're doing with your back tie. That's virtually the same thing, but I think you might be missing a really good place command where he is self-soothing and learning how to settle on place. I think that might be why you're getting some chewing. If you're doing everything I just said though, and you're doing everything right, and you just got a really chewy, nippy dog, spray it with a little bitter apple. Usually that helps if you've already covered all your boxes: mental, physical, existence.
Yeah. Ricky, will you go ahead and take Hershey?
Is he done?
Yeah, well, he's actually settled, and so...
he slept in his crate for 2 hours this morning.
Yeah,
Day
and I
one,
wanted
2
to...
hours, not a peep.
I wanted
That's
to end on a good note, because he's so cuddly.
That's because he feels like he should be cuddled.
But I wanted to end.
Yeah.
The only thing I would add to that is... Okay, I would add actually a lot to that. I could spend 30 minutes talking about the pros and cons to back tying a puppy, and try to navigate why it's not working for you, specifically in your home. Sorry, I'm talking Instagram.
And D, if you're here, throw us a Asian breed if you can.
Yeah.
It always helps us give you better advice.
But I'll give you something small because he already like dove into a lot of different aspects that I completely agree with. My thing is, puppies can't really do place duration yet. We still want to teach the boundary. That helps with the frustration, helps them understand leash, all that stuff. For me, I just kind of want to pose a challenge to you, all of you out there. Hi, Spark. Spark was the dog. Is that the dog I was going to steal for my kid? Yeah.
It absolutely was.
God, I love that
dog,
freaking dog. Is that dog still here? I love that dog.
Say no. Just say no.
So lame. Okay, so what I would do is, can you physically, mentally fulfill the dog? I would even have it a little extra on the tired side than normal physically. And I would just hold the leash and ignore the dog. Dog comes up to me. Can you, as an owner of your dog, as a trainer trying to work up to having a companion for life, you're not always the dictator, but in the beginning, you're the parent. You're not the friend, you're the parent. So I just want you to get in that mindset. If you have kids, I thought that might help. So it's not a cute little cuddly puppy. It's, a child that you're raising. Sometimes there's cuddling. A lot of times there's not. There's teaching, guiding, discipline, blah, blah, blah. Okay, anyway, you've got the dog next to you on leash. You're ignoring the dog. They come up to you. You say no. no, not right now. You can bump into them a little bit if you've worked on spatial pressure and they understand that from you. And then they listen. They don't keep asking. They don't get frustrated and bite the side of your pant leg, or get frustrated, turn and bite the carpet. You got to say no for that too. You've got to be like, no, don't do this, don't bother me. Just relax. And so they kind of have to go through, there's not food redirection or anything like that in this exercise. It's like, can you just like sit in a chair and go through, you can't bite the carpet, you can't jump up on me, you're not getting pet right now, you can pull to the end of the leash, that's fine, I'll just hold it till you relax and settle down. But they won't. They'll pull to the end of the leash and they'll go somewhere else. There's nothing that they can get to, there's no toys, no kids stuff around or anything like that. And you're basically like, nope, can't do that, nope, can't do that, nope, can't do that, until they go,
I think you're going to run into a few stages of grief. I think you're going to get frustration,
possibly,
you're going to get yelling, you're
they
going
might
to get rage, you're going to get everything.
Yelling? You mean barking? Okay.
Yeah, like whining, screaming at you.
Don't yell at the dog. But, well, it depends on how bad it is. I have come across that before, but hopefully you haven't spoiled the dog and been that permissive to that point. And then some dogs are genetically more disposed to being vocal too. But anyway, you might get biting the leash, and then you can address it. You can do pressure up. No, calm the dog down, or just do a chain leash and ignore it. You know, there's some ways you can go about it without being super involved, with being very non-confrontational unless the dog physically touches you. And if you can't practice this with your dog, with your puppy, and get 60 seconds of relaxation, and then give them the chew toy, and then redirect them to the back tie on place, or doing whatever it was that you were going to do. If you can't hit that with your dog, you're going to have a lot more issues than just chewing the back tie on place. You're going to have to do way more structure, way more crate time, because your dog doesn't know how to settle around you and have the boundary of, you can't be on the couch, you can't be on me, you can't chew the carpet. You got to just sometimes settle.
You're in your own space.
Yeah. And so sometimes the back tie doesn't give enough information and creates too much frustration, but I'm the back tie. Right? So that's what I'm doing, is I'm just tweaking it to where I'm the back tie, and I get like 60 seconds to 2 minutes of relaxation. But if the dog is not asleep and still alert, then I might give like the chew toy or something that's in my pocket or in the cabinet next to me to kind of give them another few minutes. Then I put them away. I put them away when they're still in a calm state of mind. If the dog gets up and starts bothering me again, carpet again, and we go through the whole thing again, I do not get up. This is an exercise. I do not get up with my puppy until I reach a level of settling. It doesn't have to be full calm if you're really struggling, but just fine, I give up, I'm bored, fine. You get a few seconds of that. Exercise is done, you can move on to something else, whether that's crate or outside time or play or try the back tie, whatever it was you were gonna do. And so hopefully that really helps. To me, that is one of the number one key things missing in working with puppies and dogs, with people who want their dogs to be able to settle. Lots of people can't. That's why we say more crate rotation.
I did that exact technique.
It's a hard thing to do.
Sorry,
no, go ahead.
I did that exact technique with the dog on Monday for one of my private clients, and we had 3 chairs, 1, 2, 3, and like a little mini triangle. We had a dog bed in the middle, not even a dog bed, like a towel. And it took about 6 minutes for that dog to try to get to each one of us, get guided back
Several
by
times.
the owner. Yeah, and then try to chew the chair, block, try to chew the towel, block, try to get something. We took away the towel, hardwood floor or tile floor.
Yeah.
It took about 6 minutes, and then the puppy just kind of, within 5 seconds, he was on his side, almost snoring. He wasn't dead asleep, but he was pretty much asleep. And that was after a 25-minute training session, or 10 minutes of play, 15 minutes of training, and that was kind of like how we ended it.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. It was magical.
Very
how
valuable.
quickly that dog settled.
Yeah.
They've been experiencing barking in the crate. They put that dog in the crate, no barking that day.
If the whole buzzword right now with kids is teaching self-emotional regulation.
That's a buzzword?
Well, it's a buzz thing on social media that like everybody's talking about, is emotional regulation, teaching your kids. It's like what therapists and people who sell kids programs, it's just like the same in the dog world. What we forget is that dogs don't just magically self-regulate themselves when we have brought them into our homes and completely changed the dynamic of what their future evolution is going to look like. And so we have to practice being calm with them. And if you don't want to do that, then you're just going to be on crate rotation for a really long time and do a lot of training until they reach a level of maturity where it starts to happen a little more easily. Those are the two options. No big deal. Just choose one. All right, cool. We've got some stuff on here. Hello, peeps. Irvi KB says, I tried your puppy corrections, shagging corrections. Let's see here. 14-month-old golden, trying to get them to settle outside, will not chill out in the garden. Any tips on getting a 14-month-old to settle outside? After hours walk and play, he still won't settle in the garden. If I was on the sofa, he'd fall asleep. Okay. It has gotten a lot better though. After I don't remember, I wasn't here last week. So do you remember, Irvi?
We didn't do it last week.
Oh, it says a few weeks ago. Yeah, it says a few weeks ago. Okay, Irvi, it's a lot better, thank you. Okay, so for the settling thing, I think she might be responding to what we were talking about. Yeah, just try what I said. The thing is, you've got a 14-month-old, not a 14-week-old, so you are probably going to get a lot more pushback, more intensity. You might have to stand up, and be like, no, and then sit back down. In fact, if I'm in your garden, and this is an actual technique, it's called training between the ears, is something some guy came up with, where you don't sit down at first. If you're really struggling with something like this, you actually stand up and you can either just hold the leash or step on the leash where there's like an inch of slack. If the dog is standing next to you, you don't say sit, you don't say down, and you don't address the dog unless they're barking, biting the leash, jumping on you, something big. Because they try to go this way, they can't. They try to go this way, they can't. So eventually they might just sit and lay down. And you just stand there and do nothing. So you can hold the leash if you think you're gonna get a lot of frustration, fight back in the beginning. And you don't correct in this instance. You're just doing pressure, calm down, non-confrontational. Okay, you're done. All right, back to it. Standing around doing nothing. That's what I would suggest. And then I would do a couple of cycles of the dog relaxing. And then they kind of get alert again, and then they relax again, calm, let's go, back in the house, you're done. But try it in the house first. I know you said that if he's on the couch, he'd be fine. Why don't you try that in the house, facing the back door, sliding window, window that he loves, something like that, standing, doing this exercise. You can look it up. It's there's no video. This guy is from 30 years ago, so you can find an actual article document on the breakdown of how to do it efficiently. It's called Training Between the Ears. Maybe it's you can also look up behavioral downs, training between the ears. And just look up that article, that document, and try it. But I would try it inside first before you go outside.
You took my part. I would say the same thing. Teach a good place command inside too, though.
Yeah.
Because this
Instead of
never
the
said
couch.
anything about place.
Instead
so,
of a couch,
You
yeah.
need something that's not human level, that's on dog level, because outside you won't have that couch for him to settle on. That's what he instinctually goes to for his place. You need to create some floor routines for him. So when you go outside, you can take that place cot with you. I just went to the park, did a 2-hour lesson over there,
Yeah.
took a place cot. If I didn't have that place, it's a dog bed that's elevated off the ground a little bit. If I didn't have that, my dog would have been shaking for an hour straight.
Yeah.
But the place gave her a default that she was already comfortable with inside, and it allowed her to settle outside as
That's
well.
what it is. It's creating a bridge. You build up this great place duration inside. That is a place of calm, security, food, rewards, calm rewards, and then you transition it, to different areas. It's great. Spark says, "Hi, he's all better now. Procedure healed up and ready for more adventures."
There we go.
All right. I'm guessing spay neuter.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
probably. Okay, cool. Hi, Spark. All right. You have any on yours?
Let's see.
I know you had some short comments, but I don't know if it was any questions on
I'm trying to find Chelsea's original question.
the tickety talk.
Chelsea, I don't think I got your original question. If you could resend your original, I only got any advice how to stop this, please.
Any advice how to stop this, please?
We will give you advice, I promise, but we need another question.
It might be just too far back in the chat.
Well, I went to the beginning. I couldn't find it.
Well, Ricky's looking right now, too.
Someone else, though, any tips on resource guarding?
Stand up.
So any tips for resource guarding?
Age and breed.
That one's really, really hard for resource guarding
Yeah.
because most of the time, no virtual trainer is really going to help you to the degree they need to. I truly believe, I think Bethany agrees with me, I recommend you get a one-on-one private trainer who focuses on balanced dog training.
If your puppy is under 6 months old and you're having severe resource guarding issues, that's something that you need to do immediately.
It's not normal.
As well as contact your breeder if you got them from a breeder and tell them what's going on immediately.
How do you guys qualify a good trainer from the rest?
Oh man.
We
only have 10 minutes.
Ricky.
We
should do a video
We should
on
do a video.
how to find a
because
good
there's
quality trainer.
Very few amazing trainers
Yeah.
like you guys, and there's a lot of other noise in the space.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, there is. It's
how
hard.
to differentiate where to get the
We're about to
best.
bash a bunch of trainers if we do this though.
Yeah, I mean
No,
the short version is like, how long have you been doing this? How many dogs, my dog's age, have you worked with resource guarding? What exactly are you going to do to help me with the resource guarding? Do you use corrections? How do you use corrections? What do corrections look like for you? Do you use positive reinforcement? What's my daily routine going to look like with my dog when our training lessons, like whatever it is over? What kind of maintenance am I looking for? Is this going to fix the resource guarding issue? If someone says yes, run, because it's not true. Yeah. And then just find someone that you connect with that seems open, honest, isn't clamming up. If you ask them about corrections, if they do corrections, they can answer that honestly and openly, based off of, The other thing that I really like, now this is not every trainer. I have worked with trainers in their 60s and 70s that are brilliant and have taught me 80% of what I do. And they still train, but they don't have an online presence. So that's tough. So you either find someone in your community so those types of trainers will have a recommendation list that you can actually call and talk to the people that have worked with them because they've been doing it forever. If they're our age, like the 30s, 40s, 50s, I want to see some videos. I want to see some before and after videos. I want to be able to go to YouTube or Instagram or TikTok and watch a plethora. I want to be able to have hours of rabbit hole stuff. That was good. Rabbit
We
hole
like the stuff. The good stuff.
Of being able to see how you work with dogs, how you communicate with clients. The reason why is there's a trainer that I actually know really, really well, and this person is really, really well intended, and they got Instagram famous so fast, started selling a program, but had no actual showing of working with dogs hardly at all. And this person is awesome and actually came back and said, you know what, when I started working with people more and more, I started getting complaints because apparently I'm not a good teacher. I'm really good at graphic design, and because that's what the whole page is. It's mostly graphic design and selling a program, really good at spouting what other trainers have spent 20 years teaching, but not actual hands-on. So I want you to find someone that's either been in the business forever and has a list of recommendations in your area, or that you see their content. You can watch them work dogs every day. That's that's what I think.
Oh, wow. I asked like 7 questions of those. Yeah, you asked a lot. You asked a lot. One of my biggest ones is puppy training. So sometimes puppies are showing a little bit of reactivity. So if I ever refer someone to a different program or I refer them to another trainer, I'll say, you want to look for a trainer, or maybe they're just not in my area. I talked to someone at Newport this morning and I was like, yeah, I'm so sorry, you're too far away. I said, when you talk to a trainer, you're looking for, if you have a puppy, you want to know if they work with puppies. If they're an aggression or reactivity trainer, they're like kind of more what Bethany does on her private time. If they're like that, you need to know they have experience doing that with puppies. I learned that from her. Big surprise, right? There's just a lot of good questions about what their style is, what their practice is. Are they positive reinforcement only? Are they balance? Are they dominance training? What's their ratios? Like, I know a lot of people that are 70-30, but they're still balanced. It's not usually 50-50. So you got to kind of find out what they're going to do with your dog and if they're going to help you with the issues you have. Yeah. Never thought to ask about videos, so that's pretty good, because if you're doing resource guarding, that's not a standard practice of training. Mm-hmm. What I do is more standard. That's more of like a niche like area for her. Yeah, that would absolutely be something I request. Yeah, that's good. Thinking about that.
Questions on Instagram.
All right, 6.5-month-old Aussie likes to grab onto the 7-year-old corgi with front legs. When we intervene, he'd grab onto our legs. We put him away in the crate, but it doesn't seem to stop the behaviors. Well, it's because you're managing. It's different. That's why the crate, it's just managing. Timeout doesn't work the same for like kids or with dogs as does kids because they don't rationalize. Anything else we can do to stop the behavior? We aren't sure if it's playfulness or early attempts of maybe humping.
Can I read the first part again?
Yeah. 6.5-month-old Aussie likes to grab onto the 7-year-old Yorkie with front legs. When we intervene, he would grab onto our legs as well. So it's not biting, I'm guessing. Biting, I would be like, yeah, definitely hurting. But the Ray of Sunshine Shiba is probably correct in her assessment that it's a type, it's like it comes from the herding mindset, the genetics, because even though it's not biting, it's trying to control. That's what my border collie does all the time. Is he sometimes it looks like he's playing, and people are like, "Oh, it's so wonderful. You have a herding dog that plays." I'm like, "No. Really watch him. Yeah. He's just trying to control." And sometimes he acts playful to get the dog engaged, so then he can chase them to either nip, or if the dog's playing with another dog excitedly, hump. So yes, it's definitely a form of trying to control. You could say that that's dominance. You could say it's herding. Definitely comes from both of those places. Especially Australian Shepherds are very prone to be heavier dominance than other herding dogs. Anyway, I could talk about herding dogs all day. But how old is this dog again? 6.5 months. So we're already dealing with an adolescent. So you're definitely dealing with some of the new hormonal frustrations and coming into their own and playing around with their energies and things like that. I don't necessarily mean sexual frustrations. That's probably not what it is at all. It's probably just trying to control.
Control frustration.
Yeah.
It's like, I want to be in charge. I want to be in control of the play style, but I'm not in control, so he's learning ways to control it.
Yeah. Now, I'm curious what the Corgi is doing when this happens. Are they already playing together? And then the Aussie is quickly going into trying to control, trying to hump. If the dog is doing it regularly, like if your Aussie is just walking around the house and looks at your Corgi and is going in for that, to me, that would be a huge red flag. If I was in your home talking with you, I would want to get a one-on-one trainer right away to get this under control, because then your dog is seeking out moments
targeting
to cause trouble, and it can lead to aggression very quickly. But if they're already playing, it's like very back and forth, and then it quickly escalates into that, I would say even though it's common, it can still lead to very problematic things. And my thing is, when you intervene, I don't know what that looks like when you guys do it, but when you intervene, why is the dog then doing it to you? Because then to me, I'm like, okay, there are relationship issues.
You're getting frustration
in the home. Yeah. So if you don't have a valuable no, I'm not trying to pick on you, I swear. I'm just trying maybe to do perspective, and then we'll go into practical of how to help. If you don't have a valuable no, where you can stop a dog from your own dog from doing something like that, that's really where we need to start, because then nothing else is going to work between the Corgi and your Aussie. So for me, I'm working on more boundaries in the home, stopping at thresholds, more body language. A 6.5-month-old dog should be able to go to place for 2 hours and lay there on command, easy, if they've been mentally and physically fulfilled. Even if they haven't, some days they should be able to go to place and lay down for an hour if I've asked them to, and using body language to teach the dog how to reset themselves in place. So definitely look up, how to teach place, balance training, because if you say balance training, it should show you videos of using like spatial pressure to move into a dog to reset them on place. And Aussies are typically great at that, and so it should be
or they're really good at countering it, depending on how long they've been doing it for.
That's true. And then you're using body language for thresholds as well as leash. A leash is always there as backup, waiting at all thresholds to go inside, outside. That Corgi would be given permission to go outside first. Recalm the Aussie, then the Aussie can go. Things like that. Like, what are those types of boundaries in the home? When they come up to me, sometimes I'm like, no pets right now. Go on, go lay down. And they're like, okay, no big deal. Instead of just bugging the Corgi or being even more pushy. So what are those boundaries in the home?
Yeah, you turning away the younger dog, and then he goes to the Corgi next as a redirection.
It's like, no, you can't do that either. And so for me, no practical advice that we're going to give is going to work if that relationship isn't in a better place. Because like for me, I'll be real honest, Before I had a kid, I used to wrestle with my border collie. I did it on purpose to really work on a good out, to be like, drive, drive, drive. He'd get really mouthy. I'd freeze, out. He'd let go instantly. It was a super fun game. He would also hump me. And then that trickles into other parts of the day. Every now and then, it's not very common because I'm pretty consistent and firm, as I should be as a trainer. But sometimes I would come in the room, it would be dinner time, and the dogs are really excited, and I'd be messing with the other dogs and be like, oh, hi, Dakota, you're my sweet one. I can spoil you more. And then I've got Dusty on my leg, like just about to hump me. And it's just a really simple out. And he's like, okay, you know? So it's like, that's what I'm trying to get across to you is I'm not saying that dogs should never make a mistake or never do any of those kinds of things. I'm just saying that you should have control over it.
You should be able to say no or good to the thing.
The marker, your no and your good marker should be super solid. Okay, you want to give them some practical ways to work on this when the dog humps the dog or them? Like,
man, that was a rabbit hole. We went deep into this.
I know. I thought you might want to jump in with that.
Well, one, I'm probably going to have my Shiba off leash.
Not Shiba, Aussie. Shiba was the one that commented.
Oh, I thought it was the Shiba that was this older one, the 7-year-old. No, it was a Corgi. Okay, sorry. They're both orange.
They're both orange, guys.
Orange. So, the Corgi who's getting humped. If I would probably have the Corgi off leash, I'd have my younger dog on leash. I want a couple different versions of control. So I want to be able to pick up that leash and get in front of my dog. If I start seeing that play escalate, it gets to a point to where it's very one-sided. The Corgi isn't really going towards the younger dog anymore. 6.5-month-old.
6.5 months, yeah.
Let me just call it that, the 6.5 month. So the Corgi's no longer going towards the 6.5 month, but the 6.5 month is always going above the Corgi and towards the Corgi. When I start seeing that, I'm preventative, guys. I see that energy style, that type of play, and I'm like, okay, the play's kind of like dying off anyways. The Corgi doesn't want to play anymore. So I'll move in, and I'll put my body between the two of them. I use my body as a spatial pressure, as like a block. I step in between. I turn and face my younger puppy, who's the one who's kind of like the aggressor, and it's not bad aggression, but just moving forward. I pick up that leash, and I'll move into my dog a few steps. If they do not voluntarily step back and give me space
and respect the spatial pressure,
I'll do a little pressure up and out with my arm, and sometimes I'll even bump my not my knees. I don't like to do sharp knees. I do more like quads, so it's like more of like a shift forward. So it's like a bump into them where you're just kind of claiming. Thank you. So you're just kind of claiming some space, and then after they back up a step, I'll usually redirect them away. If I feel like the energy's still really high, it's my job to help them work that down. So I could do a walk routine, like let's go work.
In the house, right then and there.
Off of place even.
Yeah.
And I've said place multiple times. I love place. Place is one of the easiest anchors and defaults to go to. Yeah. When your puppy doesn't know what the heck to do, you point to place. Most dogs who've been acclimated to it will default to there, and it's a settling point. So if the energy's crazy, use place to get a little settle. And then bounce off of place like let's go, place. Back and forth. Heel off, heel back to it. Sit in front, place, sit down. So I start working through that energy, and I try to get about 5 minutes, 10 minutes, even 20 minutes of settle on place before I put them back in the crate and give them their water. Yeah. So that's my method.
It's a little bit more teaching before you just use the crate as management. Continue to use the crate as management. It's very valuable, and your Corgi needs to be able to breathe, you know? And so we're all fine with that. It's just you're missing your no. A 6.5-month-old Australian Shepherd should have a really valuable no. And the blocking's not even that much of a no. Your dog's just going to feel like it is because it might be new. So there's a lot of different ways to teach no. But honestly, this is just basic dog communication, guys.
You're conditioning all these movements, all these commands. So when the next time I lift up my leash, if my dog instantly starts backing off,
relax.
No, then lift, he backs off,
relax.
And I can relax the arm again. Yeah. If I step in, no, I take a step, and before I even bump him with my quad, he's already taking a step back and trying to sit. Good.
Then you know he's
That's
getting
like the understanding that you want. They're respecting the body language, the leash pressure, and the rules that you're setting, the boundaries that you're making.
The best advice we can give when there are two dogs in the home that are having conflict is be a person of action. As soon as you see that other dog struggling to kind of breathe or kind of just being done, don't just keep letting it go. Be a person of action, get in there, get it handled. Now, the stuff on you, we already talked about, that's more relationship stuff, and you kind of work on that separately. But at the end of the day, do not let any dog abuse another animal in the home. Abuse is a strong word, but mentally stress out. How would I say it that
Well,
way?
a 7-year-old dog, it could be mental
Yeah,
abuse.
it hurts their quality of
older
life.
dog can't recover from it,
Yeah.
they start like living in a state of suppression. Yeah, we don't like that.
And a perfect example of what he means by recover from it is he means physically and mentally. There are
Emotionally,
two different types of recovery. A dog, I've had plenty of doodles in the yard that Dusty has tried to control and dominate through humping, and they're so fast and wiggly, like he can't even get a handle on them, so he starts hurting them. He switches tactics and starts hurting them. So my point is that read the energy, read the other dog, how they're doing, and listen to them and get in there and help them out. All right, cool. We good?
Yeah, I had one more thing, but I don't remember, so it probably wasn't that important.
All right, guys, have a wonderful day, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
We wave it.